Now, I really want to chime in today really quickly. Hey, Tanisha, how are you, my love? Because y'all know that I am addicted to reading. And hey, Cedric, it's good to see you. And I've been toying around with this book before I go to sleep sometimes. And it's called Inside Steve's Brain. You guys know that I'm a huge Steve Jobs fan. And he's got a chapter in this book. The guy who wrote this book was Leander Connie. And he's got a chapter in this book called Only Hire A Players, Fire the Bozos. Only hire A players, fire the bozos. Let's talk about this. In our business, one person can't do anything anymore. You create a team of people around you. That was quoted by Steve Jobs at the Smithsonian Institute of Oral and Video Histories. Steve Jobs has a reputation as the boss from hell, a terror-inspiring task-maker who's forever screaming at workers and randomly firing hateless underlings. But throughout his career, Jobs has struck up a long string of productive partnerships, both personal and corporate. Jobs' success has greatly depended on attracting great people to do great work for him. He's always chosen great collaborators, from his Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak to the London-born design genius Jonathan Ive, who's responsible for the iMac, iPod, and other iconic designs. Let me keep going really quickly. Jobs has successfully struck up working relationships with some of the most creative people in his field, relationships that frequently last for many years. He's also forged mostly harmonious relationships with some of the world's top brands, Disney, Pepsi, and the big record labels. Not only does he choose great creative partners, he also brings out the best in them. Through judicious use of both the carrot and the stick, Jobs has managed to retain and motivate lots of top shelf talent. Jobs is an elitist who believes that a small A team is far more effective than armies of engineers and designers. Jobs has always sought out the highest quality in people, products, and advertising. Unlike a lot of companies that recruit more and more staff as they get bigger, Jobs has kept the core of Apple relatively small, especially the key A team of select designers, programmers, and executives. Many of Jobs' A team have worked at Apple and for Jobs for years. After he returned to Apple, most of the company's top management were executives he brought with him from Next, I guess. It's not easy working for Jobs, but those who can weather it tend to be loyal. And I just wanted to just kind of read a piece of that, because many times when we are working in recruitment and staffing, we typically, I see a lot of recruiters looking for volume, right? Looking for quantity and not quality, right? They're looking for people, they want to get the positions filled fast, so they don't really invest in a pipeline. They really invest in taking the time to post a job, wait for people to apply, and then they go in and then just submit as many resumes as they possibly can to fill a position. And I want to tell you, and I want to stress to each and every one of you staffingpreneurs, that that is definitely not the way to go. Now, there's a time and a place for everything. If you're working a VMS contract, really, you almost don't have an option but to do that, right? But when you're working a direct hire position, when you're working a position where someone is going to be a pivotal part of a team that you're placing, where you're placing a candidate in a company, you should only be looking to place A players. And everyone is not an A player. As a matter of fact, most people are C players. They're there to earn a paycheck, period. They have no interest in the company beyond getting paid. They have no interest in the mission of the company, the purpose in the company. They haven't bought into their position. They don't even know why their position exists. They're there to get a paycheck. And the majority of the people that you interview will want a paycheck. They want a job. They want to sustain their lifestyle. They have no desire to really become a force to be reckoned with within the company that they're working in. So you have to understand that you're going to spend a lot of time talking to people who, in most cases, you can't do anything with. Okay? I'm just giving you the bottom line. And I want you to understand that in today's society, with technology and social media and job boards and whatever else you want to mention so readily available, hiring authorities don't need you to go in and to post jobs on a job board and wait for someone to apply. They can do that on their own. They don't need you to really utilize job boards if they already have access to them. They can do that on their own. What they need from you is for you to go out and find top quality talent that they can use in their organization to grow today. Talent that comes up with amazing ideas. And you guys heard me read from the book Time, Talent, and Energy a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I did this in the full academy or if I did this just in the seven-figure group. But if you haven't purchased this book, you need to purchase it now. This is a great gift for you to give to any hiring manager that you want to do business with, okay? Time, Talent, and Energy. And one of the things that they talk about in this book is talent and the time and energy that talent produces is what the sacred resource is today. It's not finances. And so, they talked about the ideas that great talent creates. Caleb said, I got mine. There you go. And they talk about the like, right? The like symbol on Facebook, right? That came from an employee's idea. Now everything has a like associated with it, or a heart. And they have even expanded it on Facebook. But if you go to Instagram, there's a like. If you go to Google Plus, there's a like. When you go to most social networks, there is a like feature there. And it came with one employee created that, right? That idea that has transformed social media, right? So Facebook did an amazing job hiring exceptional talent. My question to you today is, what type of talent will you provide for your clients? Are you shipping them with resumes of the average worker that they can find on their own, that they can put a job out, post a job and receive a resume for? Or are you working with talent that will help take a company to the next level, that will contribute to their mission, to their purpose, to their goals, right? Are you talking to talent? Like someone told me this morning, I was on the line with a staffingpreneur, and he said, my wife did an interview and the guy applied to the job, but he didn't have the experience. So she called him back out of courtesy. And when she called him back, she really called him back to let him know he wasn't a fit. But he goes through this whole thing about, but I can do this. I have experience doing that. I can do this. I can do that. And she says, but your resume doesn't reflect it. So my question to you is that when you come across someone who has exceptional experience, but their resume doesn't reflect it, do you sit and work with that candidate and to help create that perfect resume? Because you know that now this candidate is, I'm sorry, I just ate lunch. It's driving me crazy. because now this candidate will have an upper hand. Now the average recruiter hasn't seen the resume that you're putting together for this candidate or that you're helping this candidate with, right? You're helping to expand this candidate far beyond. My question is, how are you working with the talent that you're coming across to ensure that when they present their resume to your hiring manager, that they look better than every other candidate out there? Are you even revising your candidates' resumes, or are you just taking those resumes and are you just submitting them to the client as is? Are you selling your candidate at all? Are you selling your candidate? Are you showcasing the highlights, all the amazing things that candidate has done for the company that they're currently working for or that they've worked for in the past? Like, what are you doing? Because you get big money in this business. You get huge money. My question is, are you working for the money that you are, for the work that you're doing? Are you working for that money? That's my big question. So every book that I read, I've been picking up lately, they're all having discussions about talent. That is the number one conversation taking place in companies today. It is not bottom line. That's what it was 5 years ago, if you're still selling that way. Okay? It's not bottom line. It's about the talent that they have within their organization. And many staffing agencies are failing with a capital F. They are failing with a capital F. They are failing with a capital F because they have no desire to put forth the extra time and effort that is needed to ensure that they are presenting quality candidates. So today, I'm talking to you about talent. I'm talking to you about stepping up your staffing game. I'm talking to you about being a true resource for the hiring managers and for the employers that you're supporting. Okay? That's what we're talking about today. Yes, we have Q&A tonight and I'll answer all of your questions. But it was really on my heart today as I'm going through my daily reading, and I wanted to come back to my staffingpreneurs, because the idea is that we are setting ourselves apart from the big agencies, right? The ones that are failing, okay? We're setting ourselves apart from them. How do you do that? You do it with the niche. That's great. But now that you have a niche, how can you further set yourself apart? You do that based on the amount of talent, the type of talent, the quality of talent that you are producing and that you're presenting. I had a one-on-one call with Henry yesterday, and he said to me, Dee, he was talking to me about something that he wants to do with his brand. And he said, I noticed something. When I talk to companies and I work with companies, they are used to recruiters sending them 50 resumes over and over again. Tons and tons and tons of resumes. And those same recruiters are the ones that say, the hiring manager's not getting back to me. He said, but when I notice, when I send 3 to 5 quality resumes, they get back to me immediately. Now they want to have a conversation. And I say, yes, that's what I've been teaching for a very long time. It's not about quantity. Now, again, VMS is totally different. There you have to have quantity if you're going to stay in the game. But when you're working with a client one-on-one and they have a mission to build, to be the best in their hospital system, or they have a mission to build the best technology and change the world. Steve Jobs changed the world. He rocked the music industry, right? That's right, Tanisha, it only takes 4 wild candidates. High five on that one. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. When you're trying to help a company establish or reach a goal or a mission, it is absolutely, positively your job to present only the top best candidates on the planet. That means if you have to scour YouTube to figure out who's the top in their industry, teaching and talking about your specific niche, you need to be on there stalking them. That means that if you have to pick up every newspaper, every magazine on this planet that focuses on your niche to find out who's talking about what, do it. If that means that you have to go to every hospital in your area, because I'm telling you, every hospital has these little pamphlets that they give out to tell the people, the visitors, right? Who's on staff in the hospital? Who's doing great things? Who's made awesome awards? Right? You go in there and you pick them up and see who's doing what and reach out. Your candidates, thank you, Cedric, are your capital. And the more quality candidates that you have, the better you are as a staffing agency, the more valuable you become, and the easier it will be for you to take over your specific niche space. Does that make sense? Y'all are on fire today. I love it. On fire. Tanisha said, why do I want to bore my HR managers with multiple interviews and waste time that they can do on their own? I'm going to like that. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think that at some point, staffing agencies have forgotten what our true value is. And I know that many of you came to this business to impact people's lives who do not have a job. And I commend each and every one of you for that. And I want you to stick with that. But if you're going to do that, then you've got a much larger job than you can ever imagine. Because the reality is that most employers are not looking for someone just to fit in a seat. Do you understand? They're not looking for someone just to sit in a seat. They're looking for someone to help impact their company in a massive way. Impact their company in a massive way. Do you understand? So if you're starting your niche recruitment and staffing agency business to help people who are having a hard time getting a job, you also need to become a career coach. You also need to come up with ways that you can help that person increase their skill set. And I'm not just talking about their technical skill set, meaning the job that they do, but how they present themselves, how they speak and communicate and articulate their thought process, how they think. That means that you've got to add more to your niche recruitment and staffing business. Because if you are out there selling C-level candidates, you're not going to go far. You're not going to pass that threshold that you're looking to pass. Tanisha says, retention, they don't want to go over this process again in 90 days. They do not. Now, someone asked me, what was the book? It's called Inside Steve's Brain by Leander Connie. Inside Steve's is a little tiny book, as you can see. Very powerful. Inside Steve's Brain. Now, I'm going to really quickly, I went over this with the 7-figure class. Yes, I'm pulling another book out. But I want you guys to see, this book was published this year in 2017. And I showed everyone in the sales figure class how to take information out of a book to create a story to sell to your clients. But I just want to read a small portion here because this book, again, it's called Time, Talent, and Energy. I just shared this with another staffingpreneur yesterday. And I just want you to see how these organizations are growing. All right. The best CEOs today are great managers of these scarce resources. And just as organizations that invested financial capital more wisely than their rivals performed better in the past, the companies that do the best job of managing time, talent, and energy are the ones that win today's competitive races. Now, as I'm reading this, I want you guys to point things out that you hear that apply to recruitment and staffing and how you can assist your companies, okay? Competitive races, win competitive races. That's a key, that's something you want to help your clients do every day, win competitive races. How are they doing this? Netflix, for example, didn't get where it is just because it had a better business model than Blockbuster. It reached the top and has stayed there because it attracts, retains, and effectively utilizes many of the best people in the business. The best thing you can do for employees, a perk better than foosball or free sushi, is hire only A players to work alongside them. That's what Patty McCord said, the company's chief talent officer from 1998 to 2012. I'm going to repeat that again. The best thing you can do for employees, this isn't even the employer, this is the employees. The best thing you can do for employees, a perk better than foosball or free sushi, is hire only A players to work alongside them. Excellent colleagues trump everything else. Netflix hires fully formed adults, self-sufficient people who feel responsible for the company, knowing that they will exercise discretion and responsibility. The company has no vacation policy and no travel expense policy, nor does it have formal reviews, which it believes creates unnecessary bureaucracy. I say that wrong. Instead, Netflix fosters continuous, open, and honest conversations about performance. The strength of the company's talent has enabled Netflix to shift its business model and strengthen its leadership position over the last 10 years. Okay? Or look at DaVita, a leading kidney dialysis company that was close to bankruptcy back in 1999. A new CEO, Kent Theory, created a culture that engages and inspires thousands of frontline employees, unleashing a torrent of energy and ideas that have reshaped how the company functions. Quote, "We are going to flip the ends and means of this business," unquote, he says early on. Quote, "We are a community first and a company second," end quote. In the DaVita community, now well into its second decade, employees are teammates or citizens, and Theory is the quote-unquote mayor. People who go the extra mile for patients are regularly singled out and celebrated. DaVita's wildly spirited nationwide meeting, in which thousands of employees celebrate awards, mourn the death of patients, and connect with the emotional side of their work, is truly something to behold, observes a Harvard Business Review article. Theory makes a point of reinforcing a sense of belonging and ownership. He typically ends the meetings with the exchange, quote, "Whose company is it?" And the audience responds, "Ours!" Since Theory took over, DaVita's market capitalization has increased from 200 million to more than 13 billion today. And then there's Anheuser-Busch, the giant brewer. Here is a huge company, a worldwide leader in a mature industry, exactly the kind of organization you might expect to find weighed down by bureaucracy and productivity-killing procedures. Yet CEO Carlos Brito and his leadership team have systematically focused on eliminating sources of bureaucracy and wasted time. They work around a shared table, lowering the barriers to informal one-on-one discussion and decision-making. Information does not flow up different individual silos to be vetted by multiple layers of executives and then reintegrated, that's what it says, reintegrated at the top. Instead, everyone has a quick and easy access to the data he or she needs for decisions. So it is throughout the organization. Anheuser Beverage discloses, hold on, my little brain is taking a major fart here. Anheuser-Busch, because they abbreviated in the book. Anheuser-Busch their culture discourages internal email. Now I want you guys to listen to this. This is very interesting. At Anheuser-Busch, their culture discourages in-house email. They say no in-house email. That's very interesting. It encourages face-to-face communications and small impromptu meetings structured for discussion rather than for presentations. No surprise, at Anheuser-Busch, very little time is squandered. Then the book goes on to talk about the difference between top companies and every other company on the planet. And again, I'll put this book up in the air. If you have not gotten your copy, get your copy and send this to a hiring manager that you want to do business with, letting them know that you are passionate about submitting, about focusing on building relationships with a talent. Okay? Today's conversation is about the quality of talent that you guys are recruiting into your businesses. And I just want to encourage you in every way, form, or fashion that every employee, every person that applies to your job opening, every person that you see on LinkedIn, every person that you come across that says, hey, I need a job, I want you to understand that they are not a talent. You have to understand the difference between a talent and everyone else. You've got to know how to screen a talent versus everyone else. And if you are determined, if it is your passion, and if it is your goal down to the core of your heart to take those people who are not a talent and place them, then you need to make it your mission today to develop them into a talent. But your niche agency, do you hear me, staffingpreneurs? Your niche agency should focus on placing a talent. Can I get a high five? High five, high five, high five, high five. Woo! Thumbs up, likes. That's what we're talking about today. That's what today's conversation is about. So from each and every one of my staffingpreneurs, I want you guys to come to tonight's Q&A call at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I want you to come to this call with your questions. I want you to come to this call tonight with your questions. Are you recruiting a talent? Are you connecting with hiring managers who can make conscious decisions that you are a partner that they want to work with, that they need to work with? Do you position your company as if you are a must-have, must-be company to work with? These are the questions that I hope that you're asking yourself every day. And if you do not have the answer to those, you need to be at tonight's Q&A call at 7 p.m. Eastern asking those questions. That's what that Q&A call is for. I don't mind celebrating successes, but I want to talk about what's not working. I want to talk about what you're not doing. Because how are you going to move forward if you're not learning from your own mistakes or from other people's mistakes? Hello. Let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table. It's great to rah, and pull the maracas out and celebrate all the great things that are happening in your business. But we also have to talk about what sets you apart from the big agencies. What sets you apart from your competition? We've got to talk about that. What makes you an awesome staffingpreneur? That's today's question for Q&A. Who's going to be there? That's the question. Put a 1 in the box if you're going to be on tonight's Q&A call. Put a 1 in the box if you're going to be on tonight's Q&A call. That's right. That's what this is about. Staffingpreneurs, I love you guys so much. I will see you tonight at tonight's Q&A call. And yes, thank you, Lorraine. She's the one top. Thank you, Jackie. I love it. Thank you, Tanisha. I love it. Thank you. I love it. Thank you, Caleb. I love it. That's what this is about. Thank you, Cedric. I love it. There you go. All right, guys, you have an amazing day. Get fired up